allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we call this meeting to order. The first order of business is to express condolences to the Trustee Smith family. Her father-in-law passed away today, so she is absent because of that. I'd like a motion to accept the regular meeting minutes from June 13th, 2022.
So moved.
Mark, second? Jim, are you nodding or? Okay, Jim. Any corrections, comments to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. At this point, I'd like to open it up to public comment. Anything from the public?
I don't have the agenda, but do you have public comment at the end as well?
We have it at the beginning and the end, but today we're going to have an executive session that's a little protracted, so we're only going to have it at the beginning of this meeting.
Oh, okay, well then I'd like to speak.
Okay, so state your name and.
Karen McComb from Village President. I know on the agenda, which I didn't see, but I think that you are going to be talking about the old fire truck that I think has been brought up at some of your previous meetings on.
Yes, it's under old business.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to say a few words about that when the board was considering the disposition of that, keeping it in their way, looking at different options. The Historical Society, as you know, which I'm sort of speaking in favor of, has voiced interest in taking over in some way, shape, or manner. I'm hoping that some kind of a compromise or an understanding can be developed between the board and the Historical Society, so we can keep that. And my take on it is that it's not an original, it's an old fire truck, I know that. But there are people who have come to the Historical Society meetings who have voiced their concern that it's a part of history that their family was involved in, whether it be the Page family or the Shoemaker family. Barbara had voiced some concern because their family members were part of that history when that truck was in its heyday. And Shorty probably knows more families than I, because that precedes me as well. So while I know many of you are not of that vintage, myself included, I still think it's a part of the history that we utilize here more than the 4th of July parade. Not going to give out any options. I think it's your job to do what options can be developed, where the Historical Society and the village can come to some sort of an agreement where we can keep that piece of fire truck, piece of equipment here in the village for posterity, at least to buy some time. So I hope you don't just discount it. Having meaning for some residents who have been here for a long time because it's still done. Okay, so that's my feedback. But I think that.
Thank you, Karen. Anybody else?
The petition was dropped off today at noon time. Got 44 signatures to qualify votes for the village. So we're trying to campaign those different ones, and their opinion is, as it says in the petition here, that they ask the village to have a vote of referendum on the faith of the truck. Because it is part of the history and they want to keep it that way. So that's according to different state laws, 10% of your voter registration list can request a referendum, and I believe there's only 325 voters on the list, so that's 34, maybe 35 signage, and 44 for the level of the how many figures that's floating around on what costs to keep that up in the village and stuff like that, it's just, it's unreal, so, you know, like I said, you don't have to make a decision tonight, but I think according to that, the case you make a decision on the referendum in the meantime, this case is paid for that place up until, you know, it goes to court. We're coming up on the 100-year celebration of the village, and like Karen said, that fire truck's been here since 1936, and it's the flagship of our 4th of July parade, and it's, everybody says, why would they want to get rid of it? And all you have to do is go out on the street and we talk to some of the people that pay the taxes in this village, and they can't believe that after 86 years, one chuck it out the door. So,
Thank you for your comments, Shorty. At this point, we will close public comment and resume our discussion under old business at that time. Right now, Roger, would you please provide your DPW report?
All right, last month we finished up our sweeping. We didn't do much ditch work, but we did do some. We put in a culvert for a driveway, garbage recyclables, we're always cleaning up the value for activities. Dirt cart at Elm Lake Road needs a little bit of work. We've got another beaver back there. Hopefully we can get back to there a day this week and check it out.
Are we allowed to call the DEC to trap the beaver?
I think so. I think there's a few people that have that license that they can do it too, but I'm not sure.
So if it continues to be an ongoing problem, that may be something that we would want to consider. They seem to be very active this year.
Every time when I check around, if I see any low branches that I've got coming, so our signs stay visible. Potholes we try to get to, lawn meeting, we've neglected a little bit, but we're starting to catch back up here. And we raised the cemetery and digging footers for the tower, which all have been poured now, other than the new one that we have to put on top.
Great.
But that has to be filled in the pack before we do that. And pretty much the same stuff next month. Won't see anything different.
So there are 5 young men who will be counselors from Deerfoot who are volunteering their time on Wednesday from 10:30 to 5 p.m. to help out the village. So Roger, you and I spoke about different activities that they would do to help get it.
Rake the sand at the beach and take those special rakes and rake some of that debris and stuff that's in the water out.
Yep.
I'm gonna have them do the basketball or the baseball field.
Baseball diamond, right?
Rake the clay up and get all the sod out of it so it looks good. Put the bases down, put the benches out. If we have time, I'm gonna have them get to the playground. If not, we'll do that. Horseshoe pit and the bocce ball, clean them all out, make them look good. And then do some mowing if they have time. How much time do I have to do all that? I mean, a couple of those jobs are gonna take a while, so, but we'll just pick up where they left off.
Terrific. And I do have 2 weed eaters to donate to the village if you'd like to
Okay.
stop by my garage.
And like I said, we poured the last few tiers today for the tower. Hopefully tomorrow afternoon we can get that for the
Backfilled.
Yeah, here we go. Get that far out and back, so, and that's gotta be camped very well, so I gotta ask CL for our camper. Is broke.
Yeah, he has
That's
3.
what I'm doing. He told me to bring them, I just wanna remind
Yep.
him. I don't know
Good.
whether things going on, whether that's still up, so I'm not.
I think it is. He
Okay.
hasn't
I tried
said.
calling once today, I didn't get an answer, but maybe he was down there, he sometimes is working Seco, so I can't get his.
Yeah, he's been
He
in
was up there, but-
Paseco.
Tried TC Murphy from 1:30 till 3:30, and that phone was busy. I don't know if they dropped it, but I'll go up, but I've got to order the talisman
Okay.
for that top core
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of re-rod.
I believe that the engineer had said that he had the number 4 rebar for the job. He had some as well.
He does, I'll give him a call and find out.
So you need to contact, him and or Mike Velleggi to make sure that that comes down. I think Ed was contacting you about
There was something that I
that.
thought I put on here, but obviously I didn't. I just wanted to say the reason things are getting backed up is we worked 7 guys, 54 hours in 3 weeks on the tower. So, I mean, we have a lot of other stuff to do, and we had to bypass it a little bit. I just wanted people to know so they read the minutes that we're setting the garage and not mowing and weeding and stuff.
Right, no, I did want to make sure that the public knows and the board knows the DPW and wastewater treatment crew have done a phenomenal job.
Yes.
It ended up being a lot more complicated than anticipated, and it had some ups and downs that caused both Roger and I to lose sleep. But we're coming out the other side looking very well. And in addition to that, there were at least 2 water main breaks
Right.
along. So it was really a conspiring of many different things together. But I think you guys have done a great job and have really sought to kept up.
The crew we have right now.
Yep, they did a great job.
They did a fantastic job. They all worked well together.
Yep.
We got things done, even though things were happening every day that wasn't expected.
Yeah.
But we did get it done, so I want to give them kudos for that.
Yep, so, where we are right now is that it's a very large foundation pour that's 5 feet down. There are a series of 8 columns that had to be poured on top of that had to be perfectly aligned to serve as anchors for the footers of the fire tower, both for the outside as well as the inside stairs. It's a tower within a tower because the stairs were retrofitted after they eliminated the external stair ladder for that type of tower. So it's a little complex. The last thing that will have to be done as far as concrete after everything is backfilled, tamped down, and the site prepared is to pour a 7-foot by 7-foot pad on which the staircase will rest as well. So that seems pretty easy. But by then, Lori Rankin has enlisted the help of several volunteers who are coming to town who should be able to assist in doing that. So, and under the grant, the village had to contribute in kind or financially to do a match with the DEC grant, which we've done. And thank you to C.L. Smith for volunteering a lot of his time to dig the hole, and then he'll be working with us to clean the site. As people may know, it was a site where a lot of stuff was dumped.
Oh, yeah.
And so a lot of that stuff has now been uncovered from that hole and be taken away. Clean fill will be brought in, clean sand, and will be done according to the engineer's report. So thank you again. It's been huge, and hopefully you'll never have to touch that tower again.
Other than going up,
Other than going up on it, yes. I'll race you to the top.
which I probably won't. I'm not a big fan of heights. But I'll stand and look at it from the bottom end.
Okay, good. So the actual build itself of the steel portions of the tower will commence either Wednesday night, depending on when the tamping is done, or Thursday morning. And then Mike Velleggi and his crew will work straight through until it's up. So it should take 3 to 4 days to complete that. The other matter on Roger's plate is staffing. So Roger has been a man down due to injury with one of the workers. And how long has he been out? Months.
Yeah, I would say-
Since May. So, and he only just came back from
Yeah, I just got back from a,
Well, he was just back at full capacity.
He was
In May.
filled up from the shoulder.
Right.
Like at the beginning of April.
At the beginning of April. So, we've been down, quite a bit. So, in light of this, recent injury and the severity of it, I would like to propose that we hire a fellow that we interviewed before on an emergency basis, Eric Knowlton Page. His CV, resume, or it's a job application, is circulating again. You would have looked at it back when we hired Lynn Page. So I would like a motion to hire Eric Knowlton Page to fill that position on a temporary basis.
That's temporary.
It's temporary,
So moved.
okay? And would you second?
Mhm.
Second. Any comments, questions, concerns? We will not hear back from the employee who is out until August, and then it'll determine what the next steps are. So at present, he's out on full disability. So it is not, that is not coming, now that his time is used, it's not coming out of the personnel budget. So there would be enough money in the budget to do that. So workers' comp is taking care of that. So all in favor of hiring Eric Knowlton Page, say aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carries. And we'll determine the rate of pay based on factors, how much the other employee is getting, et cetera. Okay, all right. Roger, anything else from you?
On my 60-day thing, I thought cut trees at end. I probably had more than that. At the end of Timberline Drive, there's 2 dead trees that are right next to the edge of the road. And the lady that lives there,
And they're on village property?
they're on the village right away. I can't remember now.
They're on the right of way, or is it village property?
Well,
do
it's,
we-
it's right on the side of the road, off the road about 2 feet,
Okay,
3 feet. And then they're dead and pieces are falling out of them and she's nervous that when her son comes up, he has little kids. And so I told her 3 weeks ago, we get them down, we haven't yet, but we're gonna try to get through that this week if we can.
so is that something that DPW can do, or we
Yeah.
have to hire
No,
out?
they're not really big.
Okay.
And a lady, asked me about a dead tree at the beach, I wanna check out, it's over by the jetty somewhere. And I looked and there is a fairly good sized tree with no leaves on it, but it's way over in that corner. So we might take
All right,
that down too.
we can take a look at that. And then the only other tree that is cause of concern is the one in the cemetery.
Yeah, but that's gonna cost quite a bit of money to take that.
How is that faring? Is there a portion of it we can take down?
Every once in a while a branch falls out of it, but it's faring really good. I mean, it's not like it's dead or anything, it's growing and getting bigger.
All
But
right,
it's huge.
maybe we
That's
can,
something that,
we need to
really, we have to have somebody.
put that in the budget. So, yes, Mark.
Yeah, there's a big branch, in the park next to the left side, basically over one of the park benches. If Roger could just look at that.
Okay.
Right, maybe.
On Tunny or on the point?
Yeah, in the park on the point, left-hand side near the stone wall, right over one of the benches that are there. So just take a look at it.
I'll check that out for
Alright.
Tunny.
We can go for a walk, Roger.
And, last but not least, we're gonna start working on Elmite Road, we're gonna pave it. And, sorry. I got word from Mangino that my truck is done, but it's not in. But he said it should be showing up anytime.
Where is it?
That's some transit, I don't know why. But
Okay.
as soon as it does, I'll let you know, and,
Okay. Terrific. That's a long time coming.
yes.
So, Roger, when we do Elm Lake Road, and sometimes there's extra asphalt left, or macadam, as they say down south, is it possible to take what's left and fill that dip outside of the firehouse? There's,
I've told Ryan many times I'm gonna do that, every
Mhm.
time we get a load of hot mix, we run out before we get there.
okay,
But I do have to get a load for a cut on Shuttleworth and for a cut on Woodward,
okay,
and those are only two small cuts, so we'll have quite a bit on that road when we do that.
Okay, so can you write it down to,
Yes,
thank you.
and that reminds me, Mark was wanting me to fix the 4 or 5 spots along the curve going down Route 8 or 30. I'm hoping we can get to that this week, because he wanted it done before 4th of July, but we still have the tower stuff going on a little bit, cleanup and all that, so.
So, Mark, are you asking to rebuild the curbs or remove the debris?
No, it was a resident complaint, and there was holes in the road. He was worried during the 4th of July, during the parade or something, somebody could trip, break their ankle or leg, in a couple of spots there.
Was that a written complaint?
No, I met him in the post office, and he said, and I talked to Roger, and I said, you have to check with the state. Roger did, and he said we had permission to fill them.
And if we can't get them, I'll put cones in each spot.
Cones, or can we put item 4 in there?
I can probably
or-
do that too, but then we have to clean them all back out, but
Oh,
that's better
okay.
than somebody tripping too.
Yeah, I think so. And Mark, just for the record or whatever, it'd be best if people would put in a complaint like that in writing.
Okay, no problem.
That'd be appropriate.
But I am gonna try to get to it, I mean, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get blacktop in time, but we'll
Okay.
item 4 or something, and then we clean it all out next week or the week after or something, and put some, so I have to order a little blacktop anyway.
So when would the blacktop and the paving commence?
Oh, that's a good question, they told me 3 weeks ago, probably in 2 weeks, but he said he'd call me and give me a week's
Is this a math problem?
a week in advance, and he still hasn't called me, so.
Okay.
And I said I need to book some little bit of advance to know. But
Yeah.
we're pretty much ready.
Okay.
There's a couple of small minor things we have to do. And then we're gonna have to, when they come up, they're gonna shim those spots, and then we're gonna pave the whole thing. But
So after this week, there shouldn't be any more responsibility with the tower. I think
That's
after
right.
Wednesday or Thursday.
Well,
there
we're
The
gonna
pad.
have lots of cleanup, and after, even when he's building the tower, we might have to rake and
should be- Yeah.
seed and all
So,
that. But
so just so people understand, there's 10 truckloads of fill that needs to go into the hole, and then there's a bunch of piles there that still have to get taken away. So,
And CEL said not to take the silt fence down until you start
yeah,
getting
you
through.
can't, you can't take the silt fence down,
That's
until
very good.
grass comes.
We're gonna keep it there
Yep.
for a while.
Yeah, until the grass grows back. So that'll be seeded. Okay. Good. Any other questions for Roger? I think the village will be in good shape for July 4th and for the parade. So thank you, and thank you
And I
to
do
the guys.
have, corner banners and I can't put them up yet, but
Do you think we'll be able to get those up before?
I'm gonna try, because I wanna get the buggies up down on the gazebo, but I haven't
Yes.
put up yet, they're usually up my mail.
Better hurry up and call Eric.
But other than that, I think we're gonna start catching up now.
Okay, good. Alrighty.
All right?
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too.
Clerk treasurer's report.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, like we talked about last meeting, we, will not be able to open the beach this year. We've tried everything possible that we could do, including contacting other towns, contacting the YMCA, contacting the schools.
DEC.
DEC, trying to work out a schedule with another town to share a lifeguard.
Two towns.
Two towns to share a lifeguard, with no luck. So, unfortunately, we are gonna have to keep that closed this year. The website has been updated, and we're gonna be contacting the, state this week, so that we can inform them.
And posting the appropriate signs as required by law.
Correct.
Good. And the bathhouse will not be open because the beach is not open. Okay.
Which
on a side note, in talking to a couple of the guys, it's probably a good idea since that bathhouse probably needs a little bit of updating anyways. Maybe that could be something we
Okay.
should
Do
work
this
on
summer.
while it's closed. Employee training has been rescheduled, due to a few issues that happened last week. We're now looking at July 22nd, which is a Friday, for the mandatory training. We're not sure of the exact time yet.
Yeah, that'll be a combination training.
Correct. We're gonna combine it all with the DPW and water, wastewater, OSHA type training that we're having, and then they're gonna do the workplace violence and sexual harassment at the same time. I'll let the other staff members and the board know when we're doing just the chunk of time we're doing the, workplace violence and sexual harassment.
That's gross.
Yes, yeah, that's what's required of us. 3 out of the 5 cameras for the village hall have been installed. We did have a little issue with the internet, and the ITs are working on that, so hopefully, they're recording right now, but, we'll have remote access to them hopefully by, the end of the day on Wednesday. And then we've also went and ordered the equipment for phase 2, of the camera project. They're scheduling, well, because of supply issues, they're finding that it's taking about, 6 months at least for equipment to come in, sometimes as much as 8. So, right now, they have a scheduled delivery of, the end of August, beginning of September, but that might be delayed. Then, also with scheduling the cameras, we discussed, when we were discussing the camera installation, how the DPW building and the wastewater treatment plant need to be updated as far as their internet security goes. We never finalized that, but we did budget for it with a 10% increase, in this year's budget. So I just need a okay to go forward on that, cause I've been
A
in
motion to
contact-
update the security?
Yeah, just, from the board so that I can move forward with. And wastewater treatment plant, they would be updated to the same internet security we have here.
Okay. So I'd like a motion to approve the updating of, IT security for the DPW and wastewater treatment plant as budgeted. So may I have a motion?
Sure.
Okay, and Jim seconds, all right, so, any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all opposed say no. Motion carries to upgrade the IT security system.
And after that, it'll be, all buildings will be updated, so we'll be in good standing there.
Yeah, I think if I can just
Sure.
interject, just as a note, since we are putting additional security cameras around down at the water plant, at DPW, et cetera, it is important to ensure that our security is strong, because that is the most susceptible area is through cameras and through printers. So we want to make sure that we have a good firewall. Yep,
Yeah.
through cameras.
I know that.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, the 2021-22 year has been closed and the 2022-23 year has started in our accounting software. I'm working on uploading the AUV and getting that started. We received notification last week that mileage reimbursement will be increased to 62.5 cents per mile. This is up 4.5 cents. I think the last increase was the beginning of the year, possibly.
Yeah, they usually do it
So-
annually, so this is
Yes,
very
it's
unusual.
Due to the increase in gas prices. The New York State Municipal Clerks Institute has a 3-day online training, course coming up in July I would like to attend. This course does have a charge of $300, which includes digital transformation, open government, smart cities and governments, records management, empathy, and oil. There are only 10 spots available, so I would like to sign up as quickly as possible if you approve it. It is within the budget, after accounting for fall training school. To attend, so.
Okay, I would certainly support that. May I have a motion to approve Crystal's attendance at the municipal clerks training program?
Yep.
Okay, Jim and Cindy, any comments or questions for Crystal? No? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'm gonna do the online version, it's much cheaper than the in-person version, and there's no, overnight or extra charge for, being down there. There is discussion within it's on through Zoom, so there is discussion and all of that within the class.
Right.
It's just remote, so.
Good.
And then finally, just the, abstract of financial report.
Okay, so, 3 trustees and myself have, reviewed the abstract and the financial report. So, may I have a motion to approve abstract number 2?
So moved.
Mark, second? All right, thank you, Cindy. Any questions, comments? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. And then I'd like a motion to approve financial report number 1. Right?
No, number 12.
Oh, 12 is the last one, sorry. It's May,
Last year.
right. I was so close. So may I have a motion to approve financial report number 12 for May of 2022? Cindy, second?
Mark.
Mark, any comments or questions? Right. All in favor of approving financial report number 12, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion carries. All right, thank you very much for that. All right, going through old business, no COVID update, the emergency powers that be continue. FEMA emergency Halloween storm update. We are still underway with our last 2 projects. They have added a requirement of giving, is it semi-annual updates or quarterly updates? We now have to give,
Annually, I think.
yeah. So we now have to give updates, which were not required in the past, as to what the progress is and how things are happening. So at the present time, they are putting together the bid packages for the water main crossing and the replacement of an update of pump station number 2.
I think the update, the next one's due in like 2 weeks or something like that, right?
Right, yep. The FEMA COVID update, next week, I will be borrowing the clerk or the deputy clerk to complete those forms in earnest. They have changed the parameters several times on what we could file for. They've changed the format a few times, so it's gotten quite complex, but now I think it's pretty well set that we can fill in all of the additional materials ordered for COVID, the expense of keeping extra cleaning going on, those sorts of things. We should be able to file for reimbursement through FEMA. So we will get that finished next week. I think most of the McComas Fire Tower update has been provided after a couple of hiccups and a heck of a lot of work. We are progressing with the start of the tower build itself, either late Wednesday night or Thursday morning in earnest. If there are people who would like to help, there may be some opportunities to do that. Those are welcomed by the builder. In addition, there are folks who are involved with the Forced Fire Lookout Association, and 4 or 5 of them will also be coming down over the build to assist as they can. Just as a side note, the steel for the steps and the platform will be ordered once the tower is up, because the cost of steel was so high and the builder wanted to be sure of the exact measurements of the landings. So since we had first discussed this a couple months ago, the price of steel has come down, which is great, and hopefully that'll drop a little bit further, but that will be up in short order. The septic system erosion regulation that we had approved as a board last year and opted to wait until a year had passed since Lake George had implemented similar septic regulations. That has been submitted to Jackie White, who is our village attorney. She did inform me that she was the law firm that put together the Lake George laws. So they have been well versed and well abreast on the things that have happened with regards to that. So that should be great. The other old business that has not been mentioned, there was a question regarding the ownership of Edgemont Road and the water line. And so that has been, I've been collecting information, mostly the clerks have collected information, and we will be submitting that for determination to the lawyers. It's a little complex because there are other easements on the road that don't run parallel to the road, but they run perpendicular to the road. So, for example, there's a fire hydrant that goes from White Rock Trail across to Edgemont, going further down, following the line, which is not part of the main water line. And then there's a sewer easement that kind of follows the same direction. So it's a little complex, but that should be settled soon. Okay, the next on the list is the Ford fire truck. So to recap to date, the reason why this has been kicked off is because the Speculator Volunteer Fire Department, who has oversight and ownership of the truck, came and said that it was deemed surplus and they no longer wanted to take responsibility for it. In discussion with some of the fire department people, they are thinking about reconsidering that because not all of their membership was there at the time of their vote. So they asked if they could discuss that once more. In addition to that, I met with Sally Cross from the Historical Society, talked through a few options, one of which was having the, if we put it up, if and when we put it up for auction, the Historical Society would have to bid on the auction site. And then the question was, would the village be able to house continue to house a fire truck, because that was a big concern. So that was one option. The second option was, would it be possible for the village to keep the truck and accept a specific donation that would cover the costs associated with the fire truck? And that would be the insurance, which was listed at $250, and then any repairs that would be required along the way. And that can average anywhere to $200 to $250 over the course of the year. And those are based on receipts that we have for the insurance and for the repairs. So that's another option.
And that's a yearly donation.
That would be a yearly donation, right? So I did speak with NICOM about that this week. We could write a resolution that would specifically address that, and that's well within the legal parameters. They advised caution when giving permission to house equipment, truck, or whatever from a private entity, which is the Historical Society, since it's not a municipality, in public area, because that would open up a precedent for other people to come and say, hey, can you store my whatever?
Have they asked or investigated trying to find another place to store it besides through the village at all?
Say that again?
Has the historical society investigated whether or not there will be another place which they could store.
I think that they have discussed that, but they are going to have another meeting.
Okay.
So Sally asked me if we could hold off making a decision until their next meeting. So with the information that I've gathered from, additional information that I've gathered with NICOM, I'll provide that back to her. So I did say that the board would not make any movement until that happened. So with that said, Bill Ralph has gone down, as he has last year, to make sure that the fire truck will be running in time for the parade this year. The battery was dead once again. He's charging and looking it over, and they'll make sure it's in good working order. And the fire department has asked that Bob Peck drive the fire truck this year. So I didn't see any issue with that. Does the board have any qualms about that? Okay. All right, so that, the overall decision for
Yeah.
the disposition, yes, absolutely, right. So, and we did receive a request for a referendum, and in speaking with the NICOM lawyer, it doesn't apply. So you can be petitioned to put a referendum, but according to New York State law, the board is not required to put that on as a referendum. So hopefully we can come to some other agreement. And the fire department is going to get back regarding their initial comment about wanting to chalk it up to surplus. So that's a lot about a fire truck. All right, going to new business, we were to be discussing e-bike regulations. As you know, Trustee Smith attended that seminar, which was very informative. We're not going to go through the details that Rebecca would share with us, because there's an option for creating a resolution that we might want to consider. But the bottom line that I think impacts our village as well as our town is that the laws for e-bikes and regulations were put in place in 2020. And part of that is that e-bikes are only allowed on roads that are posted as 30 miles per hour. That doesn't mean they go 30 miles an hour, but it's only on roads posted for 30 miles an hour. So as you know, there are a number of people who go around our lake.
Or lower.
Or lower, yes, or lower, yes. You can ride in 10 mile an hour. So with that said, as we all know, 30 miles an hour around the lake consists of the bit on Route 30, Downey Ave, up to South Shore Road is 30 miles an hour. When you come on Route 30, that's 30 miles an hour. When it goes on to Route 8, it's 30 miles an hour until the library. From the library forward, it's 40 miles an hour, and when you hit Page Street, it's 55 miles an hour until you hit the courthouse, which is then 40 miles an hour, and then the rest of the way around the lake is 40 miles an hour. So a village and or a town or a municipality would have to pass a law that would allow e-bikes to traverse on roads that are posted in excess of 30 miles an hour, or specific roads. So I think that's something that we would like to consider. So I distributed to the board a copy of the slides as well as an audio presentation of the e-bike regulation overview and what would need to be required. I am meeting with Supervisor Bain tomorrow morning on another matter, and plan on talking to her about this, because that's a lot of Lake Pleasant that would be involved, that they would have to consider making a new law to address that. Okay. So the other bit of new business that didn't get on this, I thought I had sent an updated agenda, is to set public workshop times between Trustee Cindy Rumsey, Trustee Rebecca Smith, and myself to talk about the consolidation of the planning board and the ZBA to address the fact that we don't have enough volunteers or people who are willing to do that. And since there are 3 of us to work on this, we would have to make those meetings public and invite members of the ZBA and the planning board to join us as we go through that. So we may want to wait until Rebecca comes back, and we'll determine a few times and have that posted accordingly. We can decide.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so at this time, I have no other new business. Anybody have new business? No new business, okay. Any board roundtable comments, questions? We did get the parade permit, so that's all set to go. That's been sent to Diane Corvetti, Donna at the chamber, and the sheriff, so you're all aware of that. We also have paid monies for the fireworks, which would again be shot off from the beach, so we'll make sure that barriers are up for that to happen.
And that's Saturday.
Saturday, yes, July 2nd, and the parade starts at 7 o'clock sharp. Okay. And we're hoping that the rain will happen soon. If it's gonna rain, let it rain early, or not at all. So I prefer not at all.
Me too.
For once. Okay. So at this time, I would like a motion to end the regular meeting to enter into executive session to discuss 2 matters. One is to review matters related to training and compensation of the clerk treasurer and deputy clerk treasurer. And the second item is to update on the code violation. So may I have a motion to enter into executive session? Trustee Rumsey and Trustee Rumsey, thank you, public,